What is up, everybody? Right now we are going to take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus and compare it to the iPhone 6s. Now for the remainder of this video, I'm going to call the S6 Edge Plus just the Edge Plus because I'm not about to say the whole name every single time. But these phones are pretty interesting because they came out about 1 month from each other in the same exact year too, and that was 2015. The Edge Plus came out in August. The iPhone 6s came out in September. And in terms of the body, I can tell you right now, the Edge Plus feels way more premium than the 6s. And the reason the Edge Plus feels way more premium is because it does have a glass back versus the iPhone 6s, which is pretty much just aluminum. But I kind of prefer the iPhone 6s body because glass on the back kind of does have a better chance of breaking, and I don't really like that too much. So in terms of the overall body, the Edge Plus feels a lot more premium, so just keep that in mind. But really, in terms of the body, they're pretty much identical. They kind of have the same layout. They have the screen up front camera, and the home button with the fingerprint sensor within it. Now, I do kind of prefer Touch ID, especially Touch ID 2, over Android fingerprint sensors, especially Samsung. So I do think in terms of the security and fingerprint sensor, the iPhone 6s does have an advantage there. But in terms of the screen, this is where the iPhone 6s definitely lacks. And I'm not going to say it's a horrible panel, but it's definitely not as sharp as the Edge Pluses. So the iPhone 6s has a 4.7 inch 750p IPS panel. And it's okay, like I said, but the Edge Plus has a Super AMOLED 5.7 inch screen clocked at 1440p, and that is crazy. I love Super AMOLED screens. I always think they're superior to pretty much every other panel out there. So in terms of the screens, I prefer the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus's screen over the iPhone 6s's, and I kind of prefer a bigger phone over a smaller phone, so just keep that in mind as well. So in terms of those things, that's really just preference, but it's really up to you on which size phone you like more. Now, in terms of the operating systems and overall performance, I do want to note, like I say in every video, that an Android could technically have better specs than an iPhone, but not be as fast as that phone because they're completely different operating systems. Android does tend to need more specs on paper to run better than an iPhone or iOS device that is less spec'd, so just keep that in mind. But the Edge Plus started off getting Android Lollipop, and it's upgradable to Android Nougat, and it's not going to get any more updates, so it's already a year behind. I don't think it's going to get Android 9.0. But the iPhone 6s started off getting iOS 9, and you can get iOS 11.4.1 on it, and you'll be able to get iOS 12 and all of those updates, and iOS 13 as well. And maybe iOS 14 if you're lucky, if iOS 13 is bad, but it's definitely at least getting iOS 13. So with that in mind, the 6s does have a better lifespan, I guess, of updates than the Edge Plus, but I'm pretty sure you can root and ROM the Edge Plus, so that might, if you're into that, I would recommend you guys doing more research for that. Now, in terms of the processors, the Edge Plus has the Exynos 7420 chipset. It has an octa-core CPU clocked at 2.1 GHz and 4 GB of RAM, where the iPhone 6s has the Apple A9 chip, a dual-core CPU at 1.84 GHz, and 2 GB of RAM. And I will say probably between both phones, the Edge Plus is a little bit faster with overall gaming and performance and everything, but I feel like the Edge Plus is way more bloated than the 6s, and that has a lot to do with TouchWiz, and I really wish Samsung didn't bloat their software like that, because if the Edge Plus was running stock Android, it would be flying, I'm pretty sure. So in terms of performance, the Edge Plus does win here, but not by a lot. If the Edge Plus was like 100%, the iPhone 6s would probably be around like 80 to 85% if I'm being honest. Now switching to the cameras, the Edge Plus has a 16 megapixel camera, where the iPhone 6s has a 12 megapixel camera, and as far as the shooting modes go for videos, they both can shoot 4K videos. The iPhone 6s can shoot 1080p videos at 120 frames per second and 720p videos at 240 frames per second. So I will say between both of them, I mean, it's pretty interesting how they're both pretty similar. I will say the Edge Plus probably has the advantage, and I do think that overall camera sensor is better than the iPhone 6s. The front cameras are pretty much the same too. They're 5 megapixels on both of them, but just note that on the Edge Plus, you can shoot 1440p videos on the front camera. With the iPhone 6s, you can only shoot 1080p videos on the front camera, which isn't that big of a deal for me, and it really shouldn't be a deciding factor on which phone you would get or which phone you should get. Now in terms of the battery life, I'll just say these numbers out. The Edge Plus has a 3000 mAh battery, and the iPhone 6s has a 1715 mAh battery. So the Edge Plus does have the better battery life here, and it's not even necessarily because of the bigger battery. It's just the iPhone 6s wasn't necessarily too good at using the battery that it had. I don't know if it was the Apple A9 chip specifically, but just know that you will get somewhat better battery life on the Edge Plus. It's not by a lot, it's not twice as much as these numbers make it seem, but it's definitely a noticeable amount. So if it was between the two, which one should you get in 2018? And I will probably say, this might surprise you, I would probably get the iPhone 6s over the S6 Edge Plus. And the reason being is a lot of it has to do with updates. That's something that's really important to me. I don't want to have a phone that's kind of already outdated, and if it is outdated, I kind of want root or ROM capabilities with it, and this phone doesn't have too big of a ROM community behind it. So it wouldn't really be in my favor to get it. Even if I were to root it and ROM it, it wouldn't really make much sense because there's not too many ROMs out for it. So I would probably just stick with the iPhone 6s and just use those updates. I know it's a smaller phone and I like bigger phones, but if it was between these two phones, I would probably get the iPhone 6s. If you guys agree with me or disagree with me, leave it down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. And of course, I'll leave links in the description so you can pick up either S6 Edge Plus or an iPhone 6s, depending on whichever one you want. And I always try to find the lowest prices too and put them down there. But hit that like button, that don't mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.